All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Special meeting today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Hart. I'm a professor in ME. I typically teach statics, dynamics, mechanics, materials. I teach the composites elective. Some of you might take that in the fall. But more importantly, I think for discussions of our conversation today, I'm the coordinator of the senior design program. So you're all here because you're interested in taking senior design next year, which is the 2024-2025 school year. So we'll have two meetings in the spring. This first one here is just kind of what you should expect for the process of senior design, how you pick your teams, how you're graded, all that sort of stuff. And then about a month from now, we'll have another presentation where I present to you all of the projects that will be available, maybe like 1 minute per project talking about each one. And then after that, you're going to give me your preferences on which project you want to work on, who you might want to work with, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. I'll have availability for questions at the end, so just wait to the end to ask your questions, and we'll get right to it. So I'm going to share my screen, which has the slideshow on it, and then we'll get to it. All right. So away we go. Senior design. As a senior, you're going to be working on sort of a multi-semester design project, and here's some artwork from some previous years. What is senior design? Well, it's this multi-term sequence, like I said, and it's about time that you put all of your education to use designing a thing. So it's going to leverage all your problem solving and engineering skills from your undergraduate classes. You're going to be given one specific project for the whole duration of senior design, and you're going to be working on a team, usually between 3 and 8 people. Each team is going to have its own project advisor that might not necessarily be me. So it's going to be someone in the ME faculty. It's going to be your project advisor. Maybe I'll be your advisor if you work on one of my projects, but most likely somebody else will be your project leader. So they vary a pretty significant amount. We've had a lot of various projects over the years. So whether you're interested in fluids or vehicles or 3D printing or composites or whatever, hopefully we have a wide enough range of projects where you find something that will suit your interests. All right, let's talk about the hierarchy. So, like I said, I'm the senior design coordinator, right? That's me kind of at like the top of all this, right? What are my roles? I create the syllabi for the courses. That's MEC 4901 and MEC 4902 for the fall and the spring. I put together seminars for you guys, so you'll have 1-hour seminars each week that you'll have to attend. Seminars are a variety of topics. We'll talk more about that in just a second. I do all the project matching, so I gather all the projects. We have a lot from industry around Milwaukee. Some students can propose for projects, professors can propose projects. I gather them all together and I do all the matching. I will collect and archive written reports. I'll organize oral presentations, so you'll have to do oral presentations as part of senior design. Sometimes you have conflicts. I got to step in the way. It's only really happened once or twice over the course of my tenure, but it's happened. And then assessment. So, you're accredited. MSOE is accredited by ABET, the accreditation standard board. I got to make sure that we're doing everything that we say that we're doing when it comes to accreditation. So that's all on my shoulders. Your advisor is going to be advising your student group. Your advisor could possibly be me. I do advise some projects, but your advisors are the ones that are directly responsible for your grades. So they guide the project, they assign your grades. You're going to meet with them weekly. They'll be your like primary point of contact for your project. All right. Then lastly, the student groups, you guys. Basically, you're doing all the work. You make a problem statement, you do your objectives and constraints, you do some preliminary design ideas, you down select to the best, you prototype, and then you come up with your final design. So that's the idea behind senior design. What do you need to do to take senior design? This is a question I had quite a bit. Your flowchart for the classes that you've taken should look like this or something like this. I know we've switched to semesters and that kind of like threw a wrench in the thing, but if you're kind of on the quote unquote normal track, you're probably in the second semester of your junior year. So kind of on the, where my arrow is indicating right now. But in general, if you want to take senior design, we kind of advise that you complete 2 out of the 3 core ME tracks, where we say that the core tracks are mechanics, energy, and materials. So the mechanics sequence would conclude with like design and machine components. The energy track would conclude with like heat transfer. And then the manufacturing and materials would conclude with the manufacturing materials class, right? So hopefully you've completed 2 out of the 3 or will have completed 2 out of the 3 by the end of this spring term. If not, let me know. and we can chat about whether or not it's appropriate for you to get into senior design. But, you should probably have two of these three done, is what I'll say. How are they selected? Teams and projects. So I'm collecting ideas right now. We have already like 15 or so projects that I've collected. So we have many, and there's still more coming in. I'm getting them from local industries. So usually we have somewhere around 15 to 20 like industry sponsored projects. Professors can suggest projects, and then students can suggest projects. Students usually suggest like design competition groups. So the Design Build Fly competition is one, the ASME design competition is one, AIAA engine design competition is another one, the Rocketry Club if you want to do one. We've had that in the past, so there you go. Once ideas are collected, I'm going to have another meeting, like I said, about a month from now, roughly, where I present all the project ideas. And then you're going to fill out a preference form with things you want to work on. You're going to rate every project on a scale of 1 to 5. All right. I'm going to do my best to match you. It is a process, but I do my best. All right. You're not really guaranteed to get the project you want. You're not guaranteed to get the person that you want to work with, but in general, most people end up very happy with either their project or the people. So take that as you will. It's always worked out like pretty well in the past, and I have no reason to suggest it won't work out well again in the future. All right, there you go. The progression, it's 2 semesters, MEC 4901, MEC 4902. In 4901, it's mostly like trying to come up with what the design should end up looking like. So what you do there is problem statement, background research, objectives, constraints, initial design ideas, and then sort of down selecting to what's probably the best idea, and then maybe starting on your CAD modeling for making a prototype. Then in the spring term, you're going to refine your design, hopefully finalize your CAD model, fabricate a prototype, test it, and maybe refine it if you have time. Then fully specify the final design with some oral presentations and some written reports. That's the progression for most groups. Not every group is like that. Not every group makes a prototype. For instance, I have one group this year that's doing a space mission design competition, which is kind of designing a mission to go to Venus. They're not really making a prototype. We don't have $1 billion for them to make a spaceship. So they're just kind of doing everything and in CAD and a lot of calculation and analysis. But that's one example of one project that might not fit exactly into this mold, but most projects are going to look something like this. All right. Each group is going to be required to do some things, and each group is going to be required to do a written proposal for the first term, which would include problem statement, objective constraints, initial design concepts, and justification of the final design. And you'll also have to do an oral presentation at the end of your first term. So this is standing up in front of a group of people. You can invite your friends and family. They'll all clap for you. Yay, oh my God, you're the best. That happens at the end of the first term. The second term, you still have another written report. This will be your final design report. And then you have a poster presentation. And usually in the poster presentation, again, you'll invite family and friends. We'll set up in the science building. Each group will hover around their poster, talk about their design, hopefully have their prototype there, and talk to everybody coming through about what they did. So it's a little more informal than the oral presentation in 4901, but it's kind of nice and a final exhibition of all the things that you did. All right. Aside from those requirements, which every group has to do, your individual project might have more requirements as well. So your advisors might be giving you homework, maybe, maybe not. They might be asking you to do things like meet with your customer if you're working with an external industry sponsor, those sorts of things. So your advisor might have more requirements. You also have seminars. So seminars happen in the fall term, which is for MEC 4901, and you have to attend the seminars. It's mandatory. It's 1 hour per week, and we cover a lot of different stuff. So we bring lawyers in to talk about intellectual property. We bring in, people from Milwaukee Tool to talk about case studies of designs that they've done, all sorts of stuff. Some are informational, some are industry professionals to talk about like their lives and what they do, and hopefully give you a little bit better view of what the profession's like once you get out, if you get out. No, I'm just kidding. You're all going to get out. Come on. Everybody always wants to know about grades. How are we graded? This class is it's up to the individual advisors. And senior design is difficult to assign a grade, but most advisors have some method for doing it that they'll let you know about. I'd say in general, they're looking at the quality of the design. They're looking at your oral presentations. They're looking at your written report. And most advisors have some sort of peer evaluation system. So how well did you get along with your buddies? How well did you get along with your team, right? If you're a jerk and you always leave them in the dust and you never finish your work, it's probably going to be reflected in your grade, right? So there you go. Also, if you don't come to the seminars, your grade might be reduced. If you want to submit a project, you can do that. Here's a little ditty on how you might go about it. If you want to submit a project idea, I'm open for that. But you got to be kind of formal about it. You can't just email and be like, yo, bro, this is what we're doing. Like, no, okay? You got to give me some sort of proposal, all right? And the project idea that you have, you should submit it in this way. 1 to 2 paragraphs, which includes a tentative title, a problem which may be addressed through the design process. You can't write me a proposal that says, we're going to make a skateboard. No, you have to write about like a problem that exists that you're trying to solve. I mean, that problem could be skateboards suck and we want to make a better one. Okay, well, that's a problem, I guess. Maybe you could do a little bit better than that, but um, it has to be in the form of a problem. It's like Jeopardy. It has to be in the form of a question. What is a problem? You also need a suggested advisor who's maybe thought about your proposal and is willing to advise the project. So for student design competitions, it's easy. You find somebody who wants to do the ASME design competition. Mahinfla does it every year. Go to him, say, hey, I'd like to do the ASME design competition with these people. Are you down? He'll say yes. That's it. Then say, hey, we want to do the ASME design competition. I'll put it on the board. There you go. So that's kind of how that goes. If you want to do something a little more off the wall, like, make a skateboard, kind of like I suggested, um, and that's just a random example. Okay, that's cool. Maybe there's something unique about it, like you're making it out of some weird composite material or something. That's fine. Just write me up a little proposal and let me know. Okay. Submit it to my email address and we'll talk about it. I'm saying Monday, April 1st for the deadline. So if you have a project idea, I'm down to talk about it. Get it to me by April 1st so I can get it in the list of projects. Cool? All right. It's meant to be a short meeting, so we're getting right near the end already. Once I've compiled all the projects, we're going to have another meeting where I present them all to you. Then you're going to fill out your preferences, then I'll do the matching. I'm targeting like mid-April, something like that for this second presentation. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to cover today. Just wanted to get information out to you guys about what you should expect over the next coming months, and then what to expect as soon as you hit the ground running with senior design in the fall. So I'll close the presentation here. I'll hang out. If people have questions, feel free to just hop on the mic and ask away if you do have any. Or if you're shy and you want to type in the chat, that's also fine. Otherwise, you're free to go. Thanks for coming.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Professor,
Yes, sir.
you're posting the slides on here, yeah?
I can
Okay.
do that. I guess I have to make a Teams team. Teams team? Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean.
Okay.
Maybe I'll put something together and I'll post the slides there.
Thank you.
I did have a question as well. I know some of us are currently studying in Germany as study abroad, and I was wondering how the senior design project process would interact with us being in a different country.
Yeah, you'll still be able to see all the projects. I mean, we're going to do a virtual meeting again next meeting. So I'll present all the projects. You'll see them. You can rate it. I have a virtual form, so you can fill it out in Germany, and you'll get matched.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Part of the reason I do it virtually is because I know some of you are in Germany and other places. We have a question in the chat. Jacob asks, when is this year's poster presentation? It's usually the last Friday of it's the Friday of finals week. So for this year's cohort, it's Friday, May 10th. For next year, it'll be whatever the Friday of week 16 is in the spring term, whatever that is. Joe Switzer asks, Dynamic Systems isn't part of those required tracks, is it? No, Dynamic Systems is not part of those tracks, but hopefully you've completed Dynamic Systems to do like your instrumentation class, right? Like I think that is a prerequisite for some of the classes that are in those tracks. They don't require dynamic systems for instrumentation anymore? Is that true? That seems wrong. I'll have to look at that flowchart.
It
I don't
goes
teach either of those classes.
instrumentation, then dynamic systems. We had
Oh, it's
instrumentation last semester.
okay. It's instrumentation first and then dynamic systems?
Yes, and then we have control systems, I believe, next year.
Oh. Okay. Well, would be nice if you did it, but it's really those 3 core tracks you need to know. Okay. If no other questions, then we'll leave it here. Thanks for coming. And we'll see you guys in the next meeting. You'll hear from me.